Good morning, and welcome to our Tuesday morning Eurythmy class, in which this time we're studying the four elements in Eurythmy. So glad to see you again on this wonderful October morning. And those of us who live out here in California are thrilled because we had some wonderful rain this past week, and we have the forces of regeneration again. Dear friends, I've heard that we have some new people joining us today, and we have people who've been with me for over a year to be with me. So as we take this journey to study the four elements in Eurythmy, you'll notice that we'll go back to basics for some of our exercises and remember a bit in depth how to do our threefold walking and our contraction expansion. And that will all be headed towards the learning that we're doing in this module on the four elements. And we started some of that work also on our Thursday evening lecture class. I assume that some of you have been in that Thursday evening class, in which we spoke of why we're doing the four elements. In our studies in spiritual work, known as anthroposophy, we understand that spirit and matter are the same thing. They just have different degrees of density. Pay attention to that, different degrees of density. And so the original state of being, creativeness, is what we manifest in what we call the fiery warmth of spirit. And when that becomes a little more dense, it becomes the element of warmth. And when that becomes a little more cool and compressed, it manifests as air and starts to give rise to substance. And that becomes a little more dense and gives rise to what we call water. And when that becomes ever so dense, we end up having the physically tangible things that we have in our world here on the earth that we can touch. And so whenever we look into the manifest world here on earth or into the distances of space, we can ask ourselves, are we looking at pure spirit energy or air or water or earth? Many of you, as I said, have been doing many of these classes with me already. And so we know that in Eurythmy, we're dealing with the sounds of language, with vowels and consonants. And it's in the consonants of language that we describe the things of the world. And the consonants also have elemental qualities. Today, before we begin to move our bodies etherically in the Eurythmy practice, I'd like to do just a couple of sound speech exercises with you so that you can follow me on this journey once we start moving. So as I just said, the elements are made manifest in the quality of different consonants. So I will first tell you the strongest fire element is F. And I would like you to practice or to speak these elements after me. Again, I will say F and then you say it. I take a big breath. I feel as if a flame of fire comes through me and I say, and I hope you're doing it too. Another fire sound is, say it again. Now you say a couple of words and then you say that after me. Fire, flame, spark, and sizzle. I'll say it strongly. Fire, flames, spark, and sizzle. Again, repeat. Fire, flame, spark, and sizzle. And now we take another sound, the strongest air sound. Or in English, we don't have the rolling R. Normally we just say roar, and we'll say renew, renew, reborn, renew, reborn, rejoice, rejoice. Again, renewed, reborn, rejoice. Now the most archetypal watery sound is ooh. And those of you who've been doing lots of eurythmy know that this is a sound of life, of living things that are growing. We'll work on them in movement. But first of all, let's practice moving them. Let's say lovely, lovely. And we're trying to exaggerate the quality. Again, lean into this. By lovely lakes. Again, by lovely lakes. This time, a few more words. Listen. By lovely lakes live little lizards. By lovely lakes live little lizards. Once more. By lovely lakes live little lizards. And then our speech becomes very different when we come to the hard sounds that manifest the things of the earth, like caves and crystals. Say that? Feel caves, crystals. See? The deep word down, down in the dark underground. Down in the dark underground. And notice how different that feels than duh. All right. And here's a sentence with a few more of the earth consonants. Big, big, big dogs. Right? Big dogs. Listen. Big, princely dogs. Very formative. Say it. Big, princely dogs. Big, princely dogs are trained to greet. Big, princely dogs are trained to greet their king and master, Meister, to greet their king and master nicely. So those are powerful earth consonants. I'll give you that sentence one more time, and then you can repeat it, but pay attention here. Big, princely dogs are trained to greet their kings nicely. Big, princely dogs are trained to greet their king and master nicely. Thank you. And just one more word. Our capacity to speak is sacred. Through our speaking, we are putting our inner essence, our being into the world. And if our speech is sloppy, like this, and if we're just using our words and just rolling like this, we're really underserving this divine capacity to shape the world through speech. And if we ask ourselves, is there any truth to what was once known as magic spells, magic words, power words? It's because people understood how through our words we mold the speech, we mold the air. And so this is why I think it's worth taking some time in this module to notice the power of speech and how valuable it is to speak well. Let's now begin our Eurythmy practice together. Please take a moment as you begin and take your space. Stretch your arms, warm your body up, shake it a little bit. Find your room, your space in your room, and become quiet. And remember, in this module, we're beginning with the exercise, I think speech. And if you're new, you'll know that after this lesson, you'll get a PDF that will explain it a little more in depth. We begin by creating the shape of a cross. By putting our arms out like this, we feel the human cross, head above, head in the light, feet in weight, arms spread wide. Or sometimes we say this is time and this is space. Standing across. And now we'll begin without the arms like we did last week. Lift the arms to the larynx, feeling the lifted star. And now sink the arms to the height of the heart. Now we turn our arms, lift them high and wide. And now turn the arms again and lower them to the height of the head. Now bring them together and experience this absolute straightness from above down through the length of you. Arms parallel, legs parallel. And come back to fold your arms. Remember, I said this is important for training our accurate relationship to the body. I am the cross. I am the lifted star. I am the grounded star. I open myself high and wide and come back and measure myself at the height of my head. I lift my arms and feel the parallel. And rest. I told you last week this was the first exercise Rudolf Steiner taught eurythmists, or one of the very first. And for many years, they practiced it like this without the words that accompany it. And then 10 years after the start of Eurythmy, he gave these words forth of the meditation, I think speech. So let's do this. Into the cross, I think speech. Lift into the larynx, you feel, I think speech. Now lower the arms to the heart, feeling I connect myself, my heart with what I speak, and feel I have spoken. Lifting our arms high and wide, we feel I seek myself in the spirit. And now come and put a virtual hat on your energy, on your head. I feel myself within myself. Now these two parallel lines were grounded in heaven and earth and feel I am on the path to the spirit, to myself. Fold your arms straight and tall you stand. And now we're going to add the feet with this. The first position is just with the feet together, your legs absolutely parallel. In the second position, you will take a small step with your right leg. Please touch your right leg. You see that it's opposite of mine because of the mirroring effect of the camera. Touch your own right leg. Now take a very small step to the right. That's the position for the second gesture. And for the third gesture, take a small movement to the left. My feet are now just about shoulder width. Just for the next position, you'll take a wide step with the right foot. Now this next one is beautiful and tricky. You take your left foot and put it back exactly where you started. And then for the final position, you bring your right foot in and your right back where you began. Now we combine that with the arms. We create the cross. Feel up and down and right and left. I think speech. Small step to the right. Activate your speaking. I speak. Connect what you have spoken to your heart. Ground yourself. I have spoken. Big and wide. And here, notice, we're in the X shape, which is called the world cross. I seek myself in the spirit. Bring your left foot in and your hands to the top of your head. I feel myself within myself. Hands and feet together. I am on the path to the spirit, to myself. And rest. One more time. I think speech. I speak. I have spoken. I seek myself in the spirit. I feel myself within myself. I am on the path to the spirit, to myself. And bring your arms together in rest. Thank you. This is such a clear and clean exercise without a lot of emotional component, but in its precision, we awaken to the way that we inhabit our body. And now, as we've done before, let's move on to the exercise of expansion and contraction. So if you would please hold your hands to your heart, reminding yourself of your personal, important soul experience living in your body. And now open yourself wide without lifting your head. The important thing is to open your energy body, your etheric body, until you feel like a wide open flower. You don't need to look up, you just feel up. And now bring your arms back to your heart. And feel that your flower has now condensed itself into a seed. And open wide. Feel the lightness of being in the etheric world. And bring your arms together. Listen to the quiet of your own soul and wisdom. And unfold joyfully to the world. And tenderly to yourself. Listen into your own personal space. And open wide to the world. Life in waking and sleeping, in living and dying, day and night, in summer and winter, inhaling and exhaling. Life is a constant movement between polarities. Thus we live. speak the verse we know so well. Within my heart shines the light of the sun. Within my soul leaves the warmth of the world. I will read the light of the sun. I will feel the warmth of the world. Light of the sun pour into me, and warmth of the world flow through me. Yes, thank you. And a small reminder of what we looked at last week. When we are in this inner space, we are in the world of the vowels, where we feel how our soul is living. And when we're out here with the open flower, we're in the world of the consonants, the things in the world that we live in. Let's now add to that the experience of walking forwards and backwards. And remember that as we do Eurythmy walking, we touch with the toes first, and our walking is ever meant to follow, to bring our heart to where we need to come. So coming forward, bring your hands together to your heart. Feel my heart. Now feel your back space. Walk back, feeling space. Open wide. Coming in, I cannot emphasize enough how this only becomes Eurythmy if you are uniting your movements with your soul experience. Bring your soul from the world into your heart. You're a different being here. When you are here, open yourself, become completely open. Wrap just knowing the difference. I am in me. I am in God. God is in me. And I am in God. And notice what it takes to move your arms etherically so that they open and unfold like plants grow. Not just physically, but we do everything we can to feel it, to sense our bodies and sense the space around us as we move. I wrap space to myself. Within my heart shines the light of the sun, and I feel the space of my back, and I feel the space in front of me. Within my soul leaves the warmth of the world. I will breathe the light of the sun. I will feel the warmth of the world. Light of the sun pour into me, and warmth of the world flow through me. Feel yourself and vibrate. And sometimes that might be all the eurythmy that you have trying to do, but it makes your embodiment so wholesome. All right, friends, let's now turn to a deeper study of the consonants in movement. We have learned a lot of them in the previous year, but now we're going to look at them with respect to the elements. Reflecting on how we started, spirit and matter are the same, but they're at different levels of density. So let's practice working with density and lightness. I'd like you to lift your arms big and make this big movement. Imagine your arms can touch the universe. And I want you to think of perhaps some paintings that you have seen that try to portray the aura around a person. And now think of that even bigger. Think of the aura around the earth. Think as if God, your arms are drawing the creator of the world in a great ring of fiery warmth and intention around the earth. Big movement and hot and fiery out there. And now from there, let's make a different kind of movement and feel the air around us is a little less hot and fiery, a little more cool, but it becomes air. Let your arms move weightlessly as if earth hasn't been developed yet. Feel the difference. That fire, airiness. And now, let's discover a different kind of movement in which now we begin to feel warm. Move your arms as if they are in a lake, in an ocean, viscous. They can't get away from the field of gravity, but they're not stuck. Can you feel that? And now feel earth. 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 And try to break out of earth. Earth. Yes? All right. Once again, fire, power, big, exulting flames all around you. Air. Water. Now, what if we think of this earth perhaps today as ice? Let the ice turn into water. We'll work our way back up. Let the water experience heat and turn into steam, and then turn into air. Light, weightless now. And now let that turn into fire. Feel how energy moves from fire to air to water to earth and back again. And now let's practice as we began last week, moving in earth, and we'll take that deeper today. Let's take 4 steps forward and 4 back. We take 1 step solidly. The earth step is not like an air step. An earth step compresses you into a box each time and backwards. 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you're in a very tiny space and can only walk forwards and backwards, then you'll continue that. If you've got a little more room, we'll begin to walk a diamond shape. I'm at the back of the diamond. I will take, those of us who have a little room, take one step to the right diagonally and stop. The second step diagonally forward to the left and stop. Backwards to the left, stop. Back to home position, stop. If you have only that much room, that's all you'll do. If you have a little bit more, join me in doing 3 steps in each position. And if you've got less room, just do either of the other 2 ways we just learned. 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is different from some Eurythmy movement in which we get to flow. This is Eurythmy expressing firmness, expressing our body nature. And now we'll start to play with the sounds with this. Let's all do the straight line forwards with the sound B. And we'll go 4 B's, I'm sorry. This is a strong earth sound because it comes to an end. And again. And again. Let's walk back. Let's do that in the diamond shape. The sound B reaches out and pulls space together and compresses it. Good. Reach out, and then the creative movement, and then go. Good. Diagonally back to the left. Good. Diagonally back to home. Good. Let's take 3 steps. 1, 2. Good. 1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2. Good. That's the minute. Earth is good. Earth grounds us. It makes us be here in the body. I love that the word body has a earth sound in it in English. Let's do also the partner sound for B, which is P. I'll come nearer to the screen to do that with you, remind you. With the sound B, we take spirit energy and wrap it around ourselves. And because we're doing the elements, we're doing it really firmly. The partner sound for B is P. To do the P, we reach out into spirit space, right and left, and pull space towards us. We'll do it 3 times at 3 heights. 3, pull, pull, pull. Squeeze yourself. It's also helpful to imagine that the Creator is squeezing you into your body, or as if you're a lemon in a lemon press. So first pull, and then 3 P's. Pull. With the B, I make my own body. With the P, I get pressed. Pull. 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 I hope you can feel that. Everything inside me gets really tight. One more time. Pull. 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 Good. Let's do that on our shape. If you can only walk a straight line, do that. If you can walk the diamond, do that, but we'll all be together, even if we have a little different shapes. I'll take 3 steps with the B, 2, 3, 4, feet together, and now P. 4, 4, 4. Second position, 3 steps, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. 3 steps, 1, 4, 4, 4, and back home, 4, 4, 4, and rest. Yes, the experience of doing earth elements is very grounding. And I know that at the end of this particular Eurythmy lesson, you'll feel really formed and hopefully quite awake with it. It's not as lyrical as or etheric as the other elements will be, but you'll feel crisp. That's what it means to be embodied. Let's take the next pair of earth sounds. We begin with the D. With the D, we press down onto the ground. In preparation for the D, I stand taller, and now pressing down, I become increasingly grounded. Great exercise for people who might be too flighty. And do. The D sound has a partner sound, which is the P. Do, t. Our partners, one is voiced and one is unvoiced. You remember how to do the T? And also by way of introduction to anyone who's new, with the sound T, we reach to the ground, we reach to the sides, we reach to the heights, we take the whole universe in our arms and bring it right into the top of our head. We feel then like as if we've been compressed into our body from head to feet. With a T again. Huh. And again, and don't underestimate how grand the world is that you want to bring into yourself. T. Yes. Again. T. And rest. And now, even as we did with B and P, this time we'll do D, T on our diamond or on the straight line if that's all you have. D and T, please. 1, 2, grounded. Now you can make that even stronger with a T. And again, 1, 2. And continue. You're so grateful that you can be grounded. And again. Very good. The difference between the B and the D pairs are because the B is a lip earth sound and the D and T are teeth earth sounds. And the next earth sounds that we have are called the gum earth sounds, and that's good. We are still making a nice strong plosive sound, good, but we do this one with the back of our throats. That means that it is more connected to the will. The teeth sounds are the thinking, the lip sounds are the heart, and the will sounds are the gum sounds. So making a deeper will, we'll do the sound G. Here we feel as if we're in a cave and we're going to try to break out of the cave. G. The rule is with the gum sound, you're only allowed to use your upper arms. So don't unfold your arms too far. Ready? Using all your power, you're so grounded now. With your upper arms, you create a free space. Good. And again. Good. And again. Good. You can perhaps imagine what the corresponding partner sound is for this, and it's the k. Go, k. And with the k, instead of pushing slowly apart, we open with force. So initially, what I do with this is just use my upper arm with a nice karate chop, not the lower arm, although it could be used later. But here, or outwards. Thank you. Friends, those of you who long for lyrical eurythmy might feel this is so intense today, but yes, being in an earth body is intense. Let's walk this diamond, g, k, or the straight line. I will take on my bigger diamond here 3 steps. Good. And even here, I still feel like I'm in the box. It's not completely open. Push the box open, and then go. 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 And we have one more sound pair to meet this morning before we then walk on towards our beautiful poem that we're working on. And the last sound pair is M and N. And those are more, they're not quite as obviously earth sounds, but they are. You can find that with the M because it's only possible when you create resistance in your lips. If you let go of that, there would be no more M sound. It would just evaporate. So we need formative forces on this M. And in today's lesson, I would just like to do this parallel armed M, pushing forwards, but with earth energy. You really pay attention to sculpting the space as if you're pushing your arm through mud or through clay, and you have to exert yourself to do that. Again, push. Hem. Hem. I use a very different kind of M in therapy, for instance. We don't always practice it as an M, as an earth sound. But it's important to know that that's where it belongs in the element series. M. And then its partner sound is the reverse direction. No. Okay. No. And with the N, there's always a moment of freezing in form, like an icicle, before you let it go. And once more. All right. And with that, let's do our cross, our diamond with the M N polarity. We have just done 4 sets of earth sounds. And essentially, we've only left one earth sound out. That's the sound wa, that belongs to g and k and wa. I just want to acknowledge it, but I won't teach that to you at this point. Let's now do the 4 sides of the diamond with all these 4 pairs, and you will now integrate that one into your personal practice this week. So we will do, let me review, b, p, second way, d, t, third way, g, k, fourth way, m, n. Bathe yourself in formative forces. And this week, when you practice it, relish getting better and better as a sculptor of space. So, continue. Good. And good. Good. M and M. And again. Good. 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 M and N. M. No. And again. What do I do to the etheric space around me? I wrap it. Good. Press it. Good. I think the elemental beings in the room are playing with us. Good. This is the world of the gnomes. Oh, not good and good. I'm very sorry, I talked too much on that one. Gnome mischief. M. N. Yes. And if I want to try to bring that into language, I might use the sentence that we practiced in the beginning. I might think, big, immensely, long, strange gods are trained to greet their kings and masters nicely. All right, one last time. Rinsely, all are ready to greet their king and masters nicely. Um, Thank you. We'll continue now. I deliberately spent this our second class, to work intensely on the earth element. And next week, we'll work intensely on both the water and the air. But let me remind us that we're working towards this poem about how we live in the four elements in nature and in our bodies, and how when we die, we will give all of those elements over to nature, and our inmost self will blaze in the original fire. And this is our goal. We are working towards learning this. I will speak the first five, no, I'll speak the whole poem right now. And then we're going to learn now how to create a little form and sound gestures for the fifth verse. So bear with me here. First verse, a fire verse. I love well the fiery, the flaming element, its flashes of lightning and flickering of stars. Air verse. I love well the airy, so free and divine, where winds and the rain clouds and great eagles fly. Watery, get a little denser here. I love well the water, the rushing one, the yearningly welling one, from land to land, the earth. I love well the earth, its holiest green, where it's wondrous to wander and lovely to rest. And then comes the fifth verse, which we'll work on in just a moment. But this is the transition. This is the bridge verse. I will, at my dying, give my being most gladly to these, my beloved, to the elements. Now, the last two verses explain the vision here. My spirit to the fiery, my soul to the air, my heart to the watery, my body to earth. Spirit shall be blazing, soul be expanding, the waves of the heart shall be surging and singing. The body shall rest. Once again, this is written by a German poet, and I find it magnificent words. You have this text written, you receive it with the PDF, which everyone who's registered receives at the conclusion of each Tuesday's lessons. So if you print it out, I invite you warmly to practice saying it yourself, learn it well, and learn it with the different elemental qualities that you heard me speak it in. And then you'll also be able to really keep up with this practice as we build the poem this week and in the next 3 weeks. Let me speak again this wonderful 5th verse, and you try to speak it with me. I will at my dying. I will at my dying. I want you to feel the intention in that line. I will at my dying. What will I do? Give my being most gladly. Give my being most gladly. Oh, just one to these, my beloved. To these, my beloved. To the elements. Elements. Now, because this is still a beginner's class, I'm going to choose sound gestures for you to learn, for you to do, which are in the dominant sound of each line. We won't do all the sounds because that would be very busy. I would say, I will at my dying. And that's more than a beginner can do. But we'll choose some powerful first lines or first sounds. We'll begin by learning how in Eurythmy to do the dominant sounds of I will. We're going to begin with the sound I, a vowel, yes? And with this I, to do the word I, we go here, I. We're going to then take that into the sound will. So we'll do I. Now, those of you who've been with me will recognize I'm going to do a W here. Into the sound if. I will. This is E, a short E sound. I will. I will. Again. I will. And remember, you don't speak it. You are doing everything you can to make these sculptural sounds in the air around you. Don't think that it gets easier or better if you speak it with your mouth. No, as a eurythmist, you're trying to do with your arms what you otherwise do with your mouth. I will. I'm speaking it for you, but when I am doing my own eurythmy, I just go. Right. The next word we'll take is dying. Here we'll just use the sound D, relinquishing the body. So now we have this. I will at my dying. And I will at my dying. And now we'll use the sound B for being in the second line. Give my being. So with this word being, you're going to wrap yourself with the B. This is what you're going to give away. So I'm going to take my body, my physical and my etheric body and all of me. I'm going to take that. I'm going to give my being. Now with a G, I'm going to give it away gladly. Give my being most gladly. Right, from the beginning, 2 lines. I will at my dying. Give my being most gladly. Again, then comes the third line, where we say, to these, my beloved. So let's, for the word these, we're going to do a beautiful E. I won't do it straight up and down though. I'll give my E front and back, and I'll be pointing with an E into the world around the these. Not those these up to the heavens, to thee. I will give my being most gladly to thee. And now we use the sound B again. My beloved, and a beautiful F. Let's do beloved again. My beloved. And then for the last word, we'll do a really big L. To the L. Again. And I remember some of you might be new, but with the L, we make this whole circle of darkness, change, and unfolding the elements. From the beginning, I will at my dying, give my being most gladly to thee, my beloved, to the end. Another sound that I'd love to teach you is how to do the word dying. You can do a little I there because you die away. We can go, I will at my time. Give my being most gladly to these, my beloved, to the end, my spirit to the fiery, and so on. We'll start to take that up in the next weeks as we go towards these festivals of change. And next week, I think we will actually do our Eurythmy on All Souls Day as we're coming to these festivals of passing away. All right. Let us close our session for today. You will then receive the PDF and the link to the lesson. And before we end, though, I'll go into doing questions and answers with you. But before we do that, let's do the I think speech exercise that we began with once more. I think speech. With your right leg, we make the lifted star. I speak. Very clear. I have spoken. Clear as a crystal. I think myself in the spirit. I feel myself within myself. I am on the path to the spirit, to myself. And fold your arms and close your practice. Thank you. So if you open the PDF that I sent to you last week, you saw that in that PDF, I gave suggestions for the sequence that you can practice the exercises from this module. Although, good friends, those of you who have been working on these lessons longer, you might already have other favorites you want to work with, such as the Hallelujah, or the soul exercises, or the sleep exercises. So if those are your chosen regenerative and inspirational exercises, feel free to stay with them. But this is a kind of different and next step to open an artistic practice up to you. So that's the sense of this journey this month. All right. I would love to take questions. So I will click on my chat box, but also Michelle will maybe read some questions to me.
Hello there.
Hello, Michelle.
Oh my goodness, I feel so grounded.
Do you?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I'm guessing we all do. Okay, so Janine asked, I thought M was a water sound like L.
Yeah, I am working directly with how Rudolf Steiner taught us when he taught the consonants. He really said this is an earth sound, and he specifically said that in the therapeutic eurythmy course. So I have to agree it's a watery earth sound, more like mud, but it has a powerful earth element, and I feel challenged to understand just how he meant that.
It sounds like Janine is also experiencing that challenge. And challenge helps us grow now, doesn't it? Okay.
Spoken like a wise woman.
Thank you. Let's see. Emily asked, will you be teaching about feet position for the movement of each poem?
Not directly, no. We don't have, I don't know, Emily, have you done Eurythmy before? I wonder what you're thinking of. We don't have specific feet positions that we do during a poem. When we work with feet positions, they're more like little insets, aside from the few that we do in therapeutic eurythmy. What we might do, we might say, I want to go there. And then I would do yes, which we've learned in our therapeutic thing. Or, and then the deer walked to the water and put his foot in the pond, like that. But we don't generally have feet positions. So I'm not sure if I understand exactly where your questions are coming from, but I could say this, I'll teach you a form. Maybe that's what you were wondering. We will work on a form for each of the verses.
There we go. And Emily, I'm guessing is joining us in this world of eurythmy. And welcome, Emily. Oh yes, there's so much to come and so much to grow into. Okay, at this moment, that takes care of the questions that I see. But I do want to take a moment for two quick things. One, I want to thank everyone who has made donations to make this important work possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also want to let you know that our dear Cynthia has a birthday coming up on Friday. And yes, I'm wishing we could sing to you in unison. We wish you a happy birthday, a joyous and celebrated birthday to our dear Cynthia. May you have a long life.
Oh, Michelle, you are my present. You are my present. Thank you so much. Yes, this is my season of the year. This is where I come alive in this wonderful Christmas of autumn. going towards inner birth.
Yes, you did and you do, and we appreciate your
Mm.
sharing all of your gifts with us each week and helping us come alive.
And good people, just another little PS here that this Thursday evening class on the four elements got off to a great start last week, where we spoke about spirit and matter. And this week, the intention is to speak about the four elements in the plant world and in the natural world. And I've invited my husband to do that presentation. So my husband, as a biodynamic master gardener, will be the one to bring the material this week. And so please, I hope you'll make it. Thank you. Thank you so
I'll
much.
be there.
Yes, you will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, we will see you Thursday evening, and we will come together again next Tuesday. And we will be wishing you happy birthday wishes on Friday.
Thank you. Going to the ocean.
Ooh, ooh. There you go.
You bet. All right. Goodbye, good people. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle, as always.
You are welcome.